Hi, my name's Trey, and this is Trey's Myths and Tubes channel on YouTube and Odyssey. And today, just in time for the fake season of greeting cards and candy, my talk is called Lone-lie-ness, Togetherness, and Oneness. Oh, child, things are gonna get easier. Oh, child, now things will be brighter. One day, yeah, we'll put it together and get it undone. That day, it's gonna be a whole lot brighter. Whoa, child, things are gonna get easier. Whoa, child, things will be brighter right now. So, I probably was flipping out with the influence of the interdimensional beast system of mind control through microwaves and exaggerating my anxiety and making me cussing and angry. Probably 5 or 6 times over the last 20 years. This man saw me and he acted cool and didn't react. But this time, I don't know if he took the shot or not, but this time, he just went like that. When I said your fake ass secret society doesn't rule over shit. And I think pretty soon after that, within the minute, I thought about this other time. Maybe before the lockdown, a couple years ago. And this man had, I don't know, he looked like he could have been Jewish or Italian or some Mediterranean race with a nice sized schnoz and long, beautiful gray curls. And he was sitting at the laundromat. I guess I was in a surly mood. And I go, well, all black magicians are suicidal. Then I told my friend what happened, and he said, oh, that guy was a black magician. So I laugh at the devil. Why? Because it's sad. I feel sorry for all the people that are suffering so terribly right now. But because they were controlled by shadows and fears and scams. So we're going from saving others to learning to save the self through being the self, the real self. The dark side always must stay hidden because it's fake and it has no respect. And think about this: the invention of the clock was the beginning. Rents, rents were the first planetary hijack before 2020. How about that, folks? What do you think? Comment. Rents, international rent pageants. God was never invisible. It is the harmless use of free will choice, respectfully having fun and growth. In other words, the Lord, or the higher D actually is what I call it, the higher D, the Creator is always there when you are exercising your free will respectfully. Whereas the rent, the property tax, the sex change operation are actually extreme versions of obedience to this, at least around here. I mean, if your rent was reasonable, maybe, you could buy that for a while. But as David James Rodriguez says, when you calculate the amount of years you're given to that person, it's kind of gnarly. Your personal pronouns, race, focus on racism, global warming is focus on distraction, really, because these same people who are controlled by the reptilians are the most racist on the planet, really. And Nazis, sons, Nazi officers' sons, and eugenicists. Um, it's all bullshit. When you're taking orders from a somebody who worships the devil or is a Nazi, and instead of oneness, man. The oneness is the only order. If you take an order and the person doesn't have oneness, I mean, what do you think? You're not going to be punished. Facing outside as the source of all time versus inward directed gnosis. The truth is now timelessness. Okay, so when you look outside, when you think somebody else is going to tell you something is accurate, you're probably going to get pulled back into hell. Um, the reactions to imagine this: the wage slave has no self. The reactions to someone saying society's all wrong. Okay, I've had every reaction to these kind of talks, whether in person or online. And I will continue to, because, of course, man, I'm triggering people here, even if it's one person. And why? Because imagine telling the citizens of Emerald City the Wizard of Oz is a fraud, and they think, oh, we love the wizard. I mean, really, imagine that. Imagine that. He's so charming. The wizard's so charming. He's enslaved them, right? But he's charming them. So the Wizard of Oz, Mark Passio was right in saying, making a documentary, a little thing saying all that he learned in life from that, because it's always been one of my favorites too, because it does show you how it works. So it's inward directed gnosis. The truth is now. We've had this planetary trauma bonding for millions of years. Imagine that. The Luciferians, the Snake Brotherhood, the Reptilians, and the Anunnakis, and the other several others, alien races that wanted us as slaves and energy drinks, have used us and literally trauma bonded us on a planetary level. Stockholm Syndrome on a planetary level. When you saw how many people were not resistant to wearing a fucking mask, when you saw how many people were not resistant to taking the shot, who you thought had the discernment, when you saw how many people did that because they were duty bots, or or because they wanted to continue to feed their children, because they didn't know how else they were going to feed their children. We have to forgive them for that. But do you understand how, when you realize what's in that, or a fraction of what's in it, how disgusting the people that force that are, and how many lawsuits there's going to be, how many psychological damage, let alone sudden archon death takeover syndrome. I mean, sudden archon caused demisal, because it means you lower your fear and your control are going to be weaponized from within because of these shots. If you took them, your desire to harm yourself or others might just quickly be exaggerated. If you overexert yourself like these athletes, so I would say try to take it easy and realize you're going to probably be disabled. Unless you got the placebo, then you can count yourself as really blessed. Um, just remember, these dark ones have been using traditions and flipping them, you know, for millions of years. And then since the Christ, the Master Yeshua, came around, they flipped his teachings. They flipped every teaching they could for the service of ego, service to self. Um, and if you can work, if you can keep your job, if you can keep your going to church, and be like Tiffany, and not just take the good, try not to take the evil, in only pure clarity. If you can keep your traditions and only in the pure spirit of the oneness. Um, when you realize how much fraud and deception and how the dark side has stolen all their power and how phony it is, when you realize that we're at the point where the black magicians and the secret government agents can only flip me off, because if they do more than that, it blows their cover. And of course, I'm taking advantage of that in this town, pretending to be an activist front, and all the meth heads around me there at that point, just saying what I felt. So if you enjoyed this, click my Irish subscribe button if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up and tell me what you thought. So this is going to be Trey's 30 minutes of blah, blah, blah. No, I'm bringing forth some of the sun as it hits my head, even through the alterations. Solar consciousness is where it's at. I healed skin cancer, MRSA. I've made all kinds of things dissolve in sunlight. It's Charlie Chaplin said it's the original doctor. So if you're like me, you realize the future has to be mostly ITAL, and also that these pooters, I've had to accept that I love this gadget. If this is Satan, then I just have to accept that I have love for this part of Satan. But I don't really think it. I don't believe. I think that's a scam. It's a scam on the old school people. It's just like the Eric Clapton song said. It's in the way that you use it. You know, your relationship to gadgetry and all that is your personal um, relationship. You know, and so when it comes to February 14th, December 25th, you have to just go, and also November 25th. You just have to go, well, if you're alone, if you're by yourself, you know what? You're never alone. You've got your spirit guides, you got your ancestors, your grandparents. A butterfly just showed up. When they locked down the world, people around this county, the ones that were bored and eco-conscious, planted pollinator gardens. The next season, I had a butterfly follow me all the way for a mile from one part from the trail, the UCSC property line, to the road, and it was so magical. And when you expand your mind and open your consciousness, um, you don't you realize that loneliness is a joke, and it's a joke on anyone who believes it. I mean, my previous video, my MK Ultra, was, Barry Gordy and Motown was the gist of it, because I believe their lyrics, and it's just such a facade, a tragic fallacy to believe you're all alone. Maybe someone named Rothschild, maybe Bill Gates is all alone, but you are not. One thing the homeless, with the tweakers with their horrible, disgusting participation, mystique, and grossness at that extreme level, or junkies, alcoholics, all of them, all the way to your secret societies and your blood drinkers and all, they all have togetherness, whether it's evil or good. And they, as Mark Passio said, they don't. None of them believe in solipsism, but they brainwash you into believing it through the fear and distrust through the media and violence around you. Okay, so remember, if you know togetherness and oneness, you will not want to strike your brother or sister, particularly a female, because you know she's the creator. You know she is a part of creation that is able to actually bring forth life. So when you strike someone else, you strike yourself. When you're a narcissistic piece of crap to someone else, you're doing that to yourself. You belittle yourself. And everyone who does it to me, then they don't want to look me in the eye or see me, because I'm a mirror. And I'm not trying to hurt their feelings. It's just part of being a coyote. If you enjoyed this, give me some commentary, a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends. Remember, be your own Valentine. Get your own self out of jail. Write a letter to your own self about what you want. to see for your togetherness. Much love and give thanks to everything.